Hey everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. You have joined the New Frontier Action page. Do me a favor, everybody. We are live right now, and today, again, we're back for our weekly sessions with our good friend, the Money Man, Stoy Hall. I'm gonna give you a second to get in. I'm gonna give you a second to get logged in. But also, while you're joining in, please go ahead on and share this right now. While you're logged in, please go ahead on and share this right now. All righty, I'm gonna give you just a moment. Give you just a moment, and alrighty. Well, hey, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I'm Reverend Rob Johnson. I am super excited to be a part of the New Frontier Action team. I am the Director of Partnerships. Myself and you got Mark, you got Eddie, you got Al. We're super excited. You got Will, and we're super excited to continue to grow this team. Now, we started these sessions because we wanted people to understand that it's time to talk about money. We know that at the end of the year, people always start to ask questions about their money. Taxes are coming up and all of this stuff. And so I thought of nobody better than the money man himself, a guy who I've been knowing for the last 10 years, my good friend, Mr. Stoy Hall, who is a CFP and the owner of Black Mammoth right here in Des Moines, Iowa, but is a national firm. At this time, I am here to welcome my friend Stoy Hall. What's up, Stoy?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
You know, man, I'm doing better now that I'm talking to you, and my pockets can grow a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
well, just a little bit. As a matter of fact, I need to put my I need to make sure that I come in and sign my contract with you, so that we can continue to go because I don't want to get out of hand with spending and knowing that we got some stuff coming in 2021.
Right.
So yeah. So real quick, man. I know last week we talked about some opportunities just with money in itself, kind of the relationship of money, why it's important, and all of that stuff. And so this week we wanted to come back and really kind of dive into this credit. But before we do that, some people who didn't see last week, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go into talking about some credit stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I'm Stoy. Own Black Mammoth. Graduated from Drake right here in Des Moines with my man Rob here. I played football down there, but I'm originally from Omaha. Came from a family that didn't have a lot of money, didn't really understand it, still hasn't really grown it, and realized that we have a very big need for, key the term of financial literacy, but truly creating wealth within our families. And so that is what I've been doing my whole career. And that's what I'm focused on. And that's why we launched Black Mammoth, is because we're Black, we're bold, and we're here to lead you to prosperity. So that's a little bit about us.
Man, so Story, you started this because you really wanted people to understand like the value of money. Like I
Mhm.
remember in college, you had came to me, you was like, Rob, I'm joining this one firm and we're gonna do insurance. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, do your thing. Well, yeah, I'm not even and then lo and behold, I end up in the insurance world. I end
Right.
up in the insurance world as well, and then you end up actually doing something. And I really want people to understand this part of it. Story is a fiduciary, so he is licensed to sell you predominantly everything. So it's not one set thing that if you go to Story and say, you know what, I'm thinking about just doing stocks. He's not going to switch you to bonds because he only gets paid off of bonds, or switch you to stocks because he only gets paid off of stocks, or switch you to REITs because he only gets paid off of REITs. And I know that those are terms that some people don't understand, but this is why we're doing shows like this so that we can continue to educate and continue to broaden people's horizon. Today, we're talking about credit. Stoy. I really want to dive deep into this because I know we only have about 20 minutes left. But I want to dive deep into this because I think it's so important that people begin to understand credit. Can you walk us through the knowledge of credit, why it's important, and just kind of your tips of the trade?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna just kind of hand it over to you to do your thing, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Credit. Wow, that is a slippery slope, man. Credit is one of the most infuriating things that we have to deal with every day, and I truly mean that. Is because without credit you can't do anything, and to get credit you have to essentially have debt. Um, However, within our world, credit is the end all be all for us, and that is you need credit for a banking account, buy a car, phones, everything deals with credit. And we've always been established of, well, don't have debt, don't have credit cards because you get trouble, right? Well, all those things are needed for credit. And the reason for needing good credit is also employment, also your background check. All that comes up with credit. So it's vitally important. Now, how do we look at credit? How do you understand credit and build it correctly? There's obviously many different ways to do so. But the first thing that we always talk about is one, go to freecreditcheckreport.com and get your free credit checked every year. You can do it annually for free. Start there to know what is on your credit. Some of us don't know that we have a bill from Verizon from 2006 that's still sitting out there for no reason.
Wow. That is very true.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've done it. I've seen it. It was on my own credit report. So first start there, and then you can start to clean that up a little bit. But truly, how to build good and great credit is to have a credit card. That's the easiest thing. Have a credit card. Either bring that credit card to me and I'll shred it, or you cut it up yourself and just don't use it really. That will at least do the most baseline credit start you could ever do. We do it for kids all the time. As soon as they're old enough, we have a credit card in their name. They'll never see the credit card. They'll never know they had the credit card. But at least now the length of time on your credit is being established. And that is one of the most important pieces of good credit or building your credit is length of time.
Go back to that for me, Stoy, real quick. So young kid, right? We know kids have complained that folks have put bills in their name, cars in their name, and all of this stuff. But you're saying like it's good not to put that stuff in their name, but to get them a credit card that they really never use. I mean, you may do what like some candy and then pay it off or something like that with that, just so it establishes. So by the time they turn 18, they have such a good credit history that they got 700-800 credit score, and they're really able to walk into anywhere and do what they want.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really important just to start them young and do it that way for two reasons. One, you just said, but also then you can take time to teach them how to use it correctly. Right. I was never taught that. I got a credit card freshman year. And I bought 2 TVs.
They were standing outside of our dorm, remember?
Yeah. They got me. And then I had a TV on there and trashed my credit because I didn't pay the bill. Right. So I've been through that. But it's truly, if you start them young, get them on a card, build their credit history, and then teach them over time. When they're 18, they are light years ahead of anybody else. And so that's another step. So credit card, obviously, very easy step to deal with. And then if you are in credit debt, right, you have credit card debt. We all do. Just make your payments. Make payments. The late payments and missing payments is what really will trash credit quickly. So when we're talking about credit cards, for sure, just make your minimum payment. If you can't do that, call them, let them know I can't make my minimum payment, and they'll easily reduce that as well. So on the credit card side, it's a very easy, simple way to build your credit and get it going. The other ways that are a little more difficult or people realize that can affect or don't affect are obviously mortgages or any type of loans and notes and all of that stuff. Are also on your credit score and also affect them, can affect them drastically. But credit is a very simple thing to build when you think of these concepts. There's 3 things that credit scores really go after. Length of history, right? We already talked about that. The amount of credit open and available, right? So what do I mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by that is I have 5 credit cards, we'll say, and they're all worth 1,000. So I got a 5,000 credit limit total, right? But I maxed it out at 5,000. I have open credit of zero, right? That is affected by your credit score. So you want that to be really big. I want it to be as close to, I guess, 5,000 as possible in our equation. But the more you have credit limit open and not being used will help your score go up as well. So you got length of time, how much credit you have open. And the third one, which really kills people, is the amount of accounts you have open. You want to have a lot of credit accounts open. You don't want to just like have a card, cut it, and close it. That actually hurts you, as opposed to just leaving it open and never using it. So those are one of the three most important things. Obviously, pay your bills, but those three are things that people usually don't think about when they're building their credit.
So I want to go back a little bit, Stoy, because we got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
I want to go back. So credit. So I get this car. I don't really know how it works, because I'm like, all right, like I have a good credit score, but down payment, or I have a good down payment, but not a good credit score. Like what are we usually dealing with when we're looking at that stuff?
So when you don't have good credit, two things happen. One, they either say no, right, decline you right away, or you have to put more down. And the reason they're doing that is because your credit score is kind of like how good of a person are you at paying your bills. That's all it really is. And so if it's low, they're going to say, no, we need more money up front because we don't trust you, essentially. We don't trust you. I need more down payment now. Yes, we'll still give you the car, but I need more down payment now. And then they'll also raise your interest rate again, right? So it'll be higher than someone who has a good credit score. On the flip side, you have a good credit score, typically you have lower down payments and lower interest rates because they trust you to pay your bills. And that's really the main purpose behind a credit score is, can you pay your bills? And are you someone who's trustworthy enough to do so?
Stoy, I gotta go into this, and I'm sorry to spring this one on you.
Uh-oh.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen a lot of people say, I'm listening to Dave Ramsey. He says, don't buy a car unless I can pay cash for it, right? Like, does that? I'm not asking you to agree or disagree with Dave, but just like this is where people's thinking has evolved, right? They've seen something on TV, they've seen this, they've bought the DVDs and the tapes, right? They've read the books,
right.
And kind of, their mind has been massaged into this. And so can you kind of speak to these ideological ideas of when I'm approaching credit, when I'm approaching buying things?
Yeah. So I'm trying not to use his name, but his concepts I do not agree with. And the reason for that is, do not be afraid of debt. The richest people in the world have a lot of debt, and they keep getting richer because what you're doing is you're leveraging. We talked about that last week a little bit. You need that leverage. So the example on a car, right? I'm not going to buy it unless I can buy it with cash. Well, okay, that's cool and all. But what are interest rates on car loans right now? 2s, 3s, 4s, right? So I can leverage the ability of their money at 2, 3, 4% when I pay it back. I can take that same dollar that you would have put down on that car, and I'm going to turn around, I'm going to invest it in myself or somewhere else, and my return is going to be way higher than that 2, 3, or 4%. So why would I like my money tied into this car and this vehicle when I can go use it? It's the same mindset about the mortgages. We just interviewing a kid today, and he had brought up mortgages, and I said it's the same concept. Why would you want to pay off your home so fast? What are you going to do with it? And it's just sitting there. If I have a $100,000 home and I paid it off, that's cool. But you're not making money on that. It's not doing anything for you. You want to be able to use that money. That's why interest rates at 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, or whatever they're at, you can turn that money around and go invest it somewhere else and still make up that and have your investment pay for your bills. And so the mindset behind debt, especially with like a Dave Ramsey or that type of model, is flawed. You shouldn't just do everything in cash. You need to have some debt to build credit. You also need to have debt to leverage that in order to exponentially grow your wealth.
So I want to make sure I hear you clearly. So leverage. So I go buy this car. I get it on the loan. I get let's say I get a 6% interest rate. So I'm paying a 6% interest rate. So instead of paying this $10,000, instead of giving them $10,000, I give them $1,000. I get a 5 to 6% interest rate. I'm paying on that at the 5% or the 6% interest rate, sometimes even lower than that.
Right.
And so I'm paying them that money back because they loaned me that money. So it's their money, and I'm just giving them their money back with a little bit of interest.
Yep.
Take that $9,000 that I still have that I did not use on this car, and then go get some other investment in myself or some other investment tool, and then use the interest. I can use the interest off of that to even make the payments off of this car.
Yep.
And so instead of just taking all of that boatload of cash and using it over here, just continue to pay the bill on time to grow my credit, and then establish another investment opportunity over here with that other cash, grow that investment opportunity, and continue to pay off. And then I look good on paper, right?
You look really good on paper. Yep. And you're winning, right? So if I'm having a 6% interest, and even if I'm only getting 9% on my returns, I'm winning by 3%. Like your wealth is building 3% while it's paying for itself, essentially, right? So yeah, that you nailed it. If you have a buttload of cash, don't go be throwing it at a car. Do the down payment, make your payments, turn around and invest that, and you'll start to really exponentially grow your wealth. And then on paper, you look flawless.
So people are getting ready to get their taxes back, and I'm right. We know January, folks start filing taxes. They start getting them back around the third, fourth week of January, going to February, March, and April. Right? They get, some people get boatloads of taxes back. If you kind of like us, you got to pay taxes, but whatever. But for those people who are behind on their bills, right? Credit is in the trash. They're behind on their bills. They really don't see a way out. Like, what can we say to them? Like, what's my way out of this? Some people say bankruptcy. Some people say just get rid of all my credit. I'm just going to pay off all my debt. Like, what's their way out?
Yeah. Obviously, every situation is a little different. There's three things that you could really attack right away. One is specifically around tax time. Get your tax returns, pay your bills. Okay. Two, with that, I don't like getting tax returns. I don't like my clients. We don't do that. I don't want you to get money back, because then you just gave an interest-free loan to the government. I'd rather have that money and end up paying them a little bit or not at all. So what you can do is you go into your paychecks, go to your HR, you can adjust that of how much is withheld. And you want to get as much cash in your pocket now as possible, because you can handle and get a better return on your money than letting the government have it, right? So now if you do that, you just increase your cash flow a little bit. So that should help you pay extra on bills or start to get caught up on that process. And the third thing would be a bankruptcy or some type of consolidation company or lender or something like that, which aren't great for your credit. But if you have no other situation, then you got to get out of it. You can't keep digging this hole. Because mentally that's going to destroy you. And then there's no recovery. So those are the three things. Obviously, get your tax returns, pay your bills. If not, change how your paycheck is coming, increase your cash flow every month to pay those bills, and start to get caught up.
Man, Stoy, final thoughts, man. Like, just kind of final thoughts. I know we said we're gonna do this again, in the following weeks, but kind of final thoughts as we get ready to close out.
Yes, final thoughts. Christmas is coming. We're all buying gifts. We all understand that. Don't go outside your means. Truly, don't spend outside your means. Your kids love you. They'll still love you. Just don't go outside your means, because truly Christmas time is what puts even a bigger burden on all of us. But if you're already in a hole, you're about to dig that hole a lot deeper and a lot faster, and there might not be any recovery to that. So don't go out spending, doing crazy things. I know we have COVID and pandemic and all that stuff. Just stay focused on your family and time with them, and it'll all take care of itself. And truly, I've seen people with a lot of debt and not a lot of income. It'll take time, but we can get you out of that. There is always a way out. So let's just focus on that, and everyone have a happy holidays and spend all that money that I don't want to spend on food, because I love me some food.
We speaking of food,
See what I did?
that is too funny. Well, hey, Stoy, thank you so much. Everybody watching, please share this. This information was so valuable today. Obviously, we know there will be other financial people who may agree or disagree. We are fully aware of that. We're prepared for that too. But at the end of the day, we need our people who watch this, who pay attention to what's going on, not to just register to vote. We need you to do that. Not to pay attention to what's going on in just in current events. We need you to do that, but we also need you to be able to afford to live, right? Money is so important right now, especially with 42 million people unemployed in this country. We started this show. Stoy said, Rob, I want to do something where we're educating our community better. So our teams combined, Mark and Peyton and everybody from both sides came together, had a great conversation, and this idea came about. We're excited to do this because we want to continue to bring you substantive opportunities where you could take this information and it can be tangible for you to use right away. Use it, do what you can do with it, and let's all do better. Go visit newfrontieraction.com. You can donate there if you want to continue to do this work. Go check out Black Mammoth, and we are here to make sure that our people are knowledgeable on what's happening in our world today. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next week.